In this video, which is part 2 of creating the timestamp tool for YouTube, we're going to focus on the character calculation here. Right now, if we input here, what we want to do here is to make sure that this adjusts accordingly, but also if we increase it, as you can see here, increases and then highlights it in red if we are over the amount of character target. But if I remove this, you can see here it goes back into a nice white color. So let's start to look how to do this. So for part 2, what we're going to do here specifically is the timestamp. What I want to do is I want to break this down and then start to work with very basic JavaScript on this. Alright, so what we're going to do is, this is the item here, but what I want this to be, of course, is an unordered list. And this unordered list, I'm going to give it an ID because I later on will need this. Or I will call this our list, very simple. And then this list, if I have here a list item, ABC, or let's say copy this, put it in there. What I want to do, because if I save this, refresh, you can see here we have this horrible dot or disk. Not really horrible, it's just not practical for our case. So I'm going to say a class, because Bootstrap has some wonderful tools here. Say here on list dash unstyled. Save, refresh. So once we have this, what I want to do now is I want to grab this and then start to work in the functions. But let's, well, I guess before we even do any of the functions here, why don't we just grab this specific function here? This is a very simple item to make, and it's a quite fun one as well. And besides that, I realized I forgot the button here, so let's do that one as well. Put the button in here. I'm going to say a button, and I'm going to say here class btn success for green color. You can say a btn small, so it's SM. Save, refresh. Oh, we forgot to put in text. The text, so we put here submit, save, or anything else. Very simple, nothing fancy here, as you can see. So what I want to do is, every time I put in a character in here, I want this automatically to be calculated and make sure that we get the latest value. To do that, we're going to put in here the script tag, and we're going to say here in our JavaScript, we're going to grab these items here, the text. Let's grab all of those. So I'm going to say here constant, and this constant will be I'm going to give the name of the title ID, so the title timestamp is the ID. This is a very common practice that I do. Say document dot get element by ID, and what I'm really doing here is I say go into the HTML document, which is this entire document here, and get the element. If we're talking about elements, we can talk about tags and I guess syntax, if I'm not mistaken, and tags. Those and selectors. Those are the terms that JavaScript uses. So in our case, we want to find the element or the tag with the ID name of whatever we have put in here. The ID is this. So I use this consistent. This equals that. It makes it easier. And then what I want to do is I want to say a dot value. I want to extract only the value of this. Alright, so once I do this, I'm going to copy this 1, 2, 3, 4 and put all these other items in there. So we have the hour stamp, and what we have more is the minutes, put it in there, and then we have finally we have the seconds. Let's copy this. Oh, sorry, let's copy that one, put it in there. Alright, so once I have this, what I want to do now is I want to have here a specific function that triggers this, and the function must be triggered here or is within the input. So I'm going to say here input, let's say on input, and basically this means I want to do or fire or trigger a function if we insert something on input. So input would mean any kind of adjustment that we do in here. We put in something or remove text. So this is a very nice one to use. I'm going to say here on input, what I'm going to say here now is say activate or trigger the function name. We call it char character counter or char counter. We're just going to do it like this. And then what I'm going to put in here is I will say this. This here refers to the entire element here or tag. And later on, we need to make sure we only extract the value out of it. So what I'm going to say here, I'm going to copy this item. I'm going to get a function, that, and then we can say here the title. Basically, it is now identical to this here if we put in dot value, because right now it has no dot value. But I'll just use it like that, like how it is here. And you can do upper one if you want, doesn't matter. Anyway, what I want to do here now, I'm going to say here, let's say console log, and what I want to grab is the title, and say here dot value. If I do this, save, refresh, open up developer tab, on input, you'll see A, B, C. Look what it does. It records everything. That's absolutely beautiful. But then what I want to do is I want to know the length, because I want to track how many characters is our string or our sentence. Save, and say here now A, B, C, and as I add more, it calculates. If I remove, it will recalculate and deduct. So this is basically what we need to do here. So I'm going to grab this, and then what I'm going to say here, where is the ID? This is the ID, the char, and I realized we didn't have any constant for that, so I'm going to say constant char equals document dot get element by ID, no, get element by ID char. And then what I want to do within here, I want to adjust the text in here, and that is what we call the inner text. So I'm going to say here char dot inner text. There's also an option for inner HTML, but it's not recommended because inner HTML is more sensitive because it allows also JavaScript commands. We don't want that. We just only want to adjust text, and if you allow JavaScript, well, it's more sensitive or prone to security breaches. So that's very important. So what we're going to do here, say this, and then this will be inner text equals, if I'm not mistaken, it is equal, or it is inner text like that, I think. Let's see. I am questioning if it's one or the other. Let's put that in there and just see what happens. If I save this, there we are. So if I change that, alright, as you can see here now, this works. Put in here more. Alright, and then if I hit 50, what happened then? Oh, it doesn't, or at least it shows. And if we delete this, alright, it works. But what I want to do is I want to make sure it notifies. It says, hey, hold on, we are over the limit. So what I'm going to do is an if statement, very simple if statement. We are going to say here, if this length here will be larger than 50, in that case what I'm going to say, the char counter dot class list dot add, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a specific class which Bootstrap has. Bootstrap has a class for text dot danger, which gives it a red color. That's it. So if I save that, let's look, and put it here, alright, there we are. But right now if I delete this, it still maintains red. So I need to do a counter active item, else it is we're going to remove basically the item, else remove text danger. Save, refresh, refresh this, put in here, there we are. And then if I remove everything, let's all look at that, beautiful. Let's see if there we are. So here, and then, as you can see here, this works absolutely phenomenal, and now we are done with the next part. So basically what we have to do next, I guess, will be specifically this here that will match our timestamp items.